Well, hello, it's Sandy, your lonely libertarian citizen of California. Um, I wanted to speak today about some observations that I have about what's going on in the economy. The first thing is the other day I had a lady come in, and it was my first. She came in right after I opened, and she had a bag of books on her shoulder, one of those like plastic shopping bags, and I looked out as she was coming in. I saw her car was just piled with stuff, all over, just piled up. You couldn't even see out the windows. And she came in. She smelled the smoke. She reeked. And of course, I didn't want to buy her book because you know what happens when people smoke. It gets in the books. The books smell smoky, and they really, no one wants to buy a smoky book. And I figured they'd probably been in her car for a while. So I, unfortunately, and I didn't, it was truthful, but I unfortunately had to tell her that I didn't have the cash to buy her books because I didn't have any sales for the past 3 days, and that was, I guess it was Wednesday morning. See, today's Friday, so Wednesday morning is when she came in, and she looked at me and had this look of entitlement, like you're in the business of buying books. You should be able to buy my books. You should give me money for my books. Was her basic look. I said, I'm sorry, I just haven't had any sales. We had 2 days of rain, and nobody came in, and I generally have to have a little bit extra cash on me to buy books, and I feel like I don't have enough cash. So I thought, rather than dipping into my reserves, my savings, I, pay for books out of what I sell. So I told her, I just, if it was a week from now, maybe, or last week, I would have had some cash on me if you come in at the right time, but right now I just don't have any. We've got to have a certain amount of cash on hand to make sales. So I said I couldn't pay her. And she got mad. And she said, she had this look and kind of became flustered and red in the face and, stomped out the door, like, that jerk wouldn't buy my books. And I just thought to myself, well, that's interesting. But basically what she said on the way out really got me. She said, I don't have enough money to do my laundry. That's pretty sad. That literally there are people out there who are surviving. They're, down and out so much that they don't have enough money to get their clothes washed. I mean, that's third world people. That's not America. So that's one observation. The other observation is from yesterday morning. In the morning, I usually, make a stop at the gas station to purchase gas, and we have a gas station, very nice one. It's right next to McDonald's on Yosemite Avenue, and it's along the highway. And when I first pulled up to the pump, I was immediately hit up for money. Someone came up to me and said, "Hey, listen, I need some gas for my car. I'm, busted." And I said, I just can't give you any money. I don't have it right now. I'm not really making any money, so how should I give it? I said, sorry, but I don't have any. And then I went in and paid for my gas, and I was pumping it up, and then 2 buses rolled in, old school buses, and they were, piled high on the top with luggage, and they looked like something right out of kind of like buses from like the late 60s. I mean, not that they were, but they had that look like hippies. And of course, out comes a bunch of people on the road. About 40 of them get out of these buses, and they are literally on the road. Long hair, very long mustaches. The guys all look like they came out of 1970s rock bands. Jeans, they're all thin as rails because they're not eating very well, and they're on the move. I mean, I'm thinking of the Chris McCandless story, Into the Wild by John Krakauer. That reminded me of that guy. He's been on the road for a long time. And so I start, doing my windshield and clean up the car a little bit, throwing some trash and stuff. And so they're going around pump to pump where people are pumping and asking for money, or asking if they'll buy a little book on philosophy of life. It's a little pamphlet that they've produced to sell to people, and they want to charge like $1 for it. And so I didn't buy it, but I found it very interesting that these were people on the road, meaning they had no address. They had been on the road for a long time. And I asked one fella who was with him, I said, when did you join this group? And he goes, he says to me, oh, about 2 months ago they picked me up in Arizona. And I go, really? You just went with them? He goes, yeah, I was on the move. I had no job, no place to go. And, they took me in. And, we get by on whatever we get from people when we make stops and fuel up the, keep on going. I go, where are you guys going? He goes, well, we're hoping to go to Oregon, to a place up there, to be for a little while. We'll work on this like farm land or whatever, and pick apples and all kinds of stuff like that. I was like, interesting. And I asked him, well, who leads your group? And he said, well, there's one guy who owns the buses, and he's taking us. And I thought, this is interesting. So, I went to the McDonald's, got something to eat. As you can tell, I eat well. So, anyways, I watched them for a while, and they spent a good 45 minutes to an hour trying to gather money and sell as many pamphlets as they could to people to get money for their buses and get money for food. And they were I guess that was where they stopped to fill up. And I don't know any more of their story. I can only surmise, but it really affected me. And I thought, this is what we're going to see. We're going to see more people banding together in these kind of lightly constructed communes, and they're going to be on the move, on the road. And I can only think of like the trucks laden with household goods in the 1930s of people trying to find the next place to move on to, and they're leaving the Dust Bowl of Oklahoma and Kansas and all that stuff. But that's the kind of picture. I wish I had a camera at that moment. I would have taken a picture of it because it was very interesting to see. These are observations of our society and how we are going through this tumult, this what I think is going to lead to some kind of convulsive breaking news story. We're going to have something happen within our own system, domestically. And it's not going to be terrorism. It's going to be maybe a full-out riot of some sort, or there's going to be a major shutdown of utilities, or there's going to be a food shortage of some sort, or something's going to happen because the way our economy is now, it's getting out of balance. It's a just-in-time economy, and the goods are going to stop being supplied. So those are just some observations I'm seeing. I thought I'd just tell you guys out there in YouTube land. Who knows whether my predictions come through? I don't think it's a prediction, but it's just enough. As some people say, trends begat trends, I guess. So there you go. Now, leave you with what I'm looking at right now. These things are kind of expensive, $70, $80, $90,000. Wonder if they're selling.